How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in our video. So, of course, another week of NFL football upon us, which means it's time for the NFL Week 15 picks. As we are closing in on the very end of the season, we're in the last 4 weeks of the season, the sprint to the finish. Everyone's completed their buys. So, yeah, a lot of games because the playoff stipulations and implications are going to increase from here on out. As we're in that final race this season to see who will make the playoffs and who will be sent to Elimination Station. Of course, last week we had one team clinch a playoff spot, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles. So now, one spot is clinched. 13 spots still remain for this year's playoffs. And, of course, on the Broncos, they were also eliminated on Sunday. So the Broncos are eliminated, which means 3 teams have been eliminated, and now 15 imposters still remain at large. Of course, last week with my picks, I went 8-5 with my picks, so my record this year goes to 131, 75-2. So, let's see how this week unfolds, but yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. And also, we have the Saturday games starting up too, which usually Saturday games have the most playoff implications. But yeah, anyway, let's jump right into this week's picks. Alright, so starting off here, we have our Thursday night game. We got the San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks playing in Seattle. San Francisco can clinch the NFC West with a win. Yeah, I think the 49ers get it here. I think the 49ers are going to sweep the Seahawks this year. Brock Purdy looked very good against the Buccaneers last week with him just completely dismantling Tom Brady in the Bucs. It seems like Mr. Irrelevant is truly relevant here. But yeah, I got San Francisco taking this game 24-19 over Seattle. I got the Niners by 5, and I think the Niners will lock up the NFC West this week. Alright, next up, we got our first Saturday game. We have the Indianapolis Colts, Minnesota Vikings playing in Minnesota. Minnesota can clinch the NFC North with a win or a Detroit Lions loss. Indianapolis Colts could be eliminated from the playoffs this week with a loss plus a win from Tennessee and either the Jets or the Patriots. So yeah, a lot of implications in this game. Yeah, I got the Vikings winning this game. I think the Vikings, there's no way the Vikings lose this game. I got Minnesota winning this one, 26-20. I think Minnesota bounces back from losing in Detroit last Sunday. I got the Vikings winning by 6 in this one, and I say the Vikings will clinch the NFC North this week. The Vikings may clinch the North, but we already know who the best team in the North is, and it's not the Vikings. Alright, to our next Saturday game. We have the Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns playing in Cleveland. Cleveland Browns can be eliminated from playoff contention with a loss and either a win from the Chargers, Jets, or Patriots. So the Browns lose if one of those 3 teams wins Sunday. The Browns are out of the playoffs. Yeah, I got Baltimore winning this game. Baltimore, trying to stay pace with the Cincinnati Bengals for the AFC North lead. As it's going to come down to the final week of the year between the Ravens and the Bengals. I got the Ravens winning this one over Cleveland. I think Baltimore handles their business against Cleveland. I got Ravens 24-16. Baltimore by 8 over Cleveland. Alright, to our next game, the Saturday night game. We got Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills playing in Buffalo. The Bills, they can clinch a playoff spot with a win. Yeah, I think the Bills get the revenge on Miami. Buffalo honestly should have won that game in week 3 against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins were able to expose the loophole in the NFL concussion protocol because NFL player safety is a fucking joke. Because there was no way Tua should have finished that game against the Bills earlier in the year, but the Dolphins found a loophole to keep him in the game. But yeah, I think the Bills will get the revenge against Miami, as I think Miami's starting to struggle again. But yeah, especially coming off that disappointing game against the Chargers. I think the Bills get this one over Miami, 21-20. I got the Bills over the Dolphins by 1 point. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. But I do think the Bills will clinch a playoff spot this week. So I do think the Bills will block themselves into the playoffs this week. And be the first team on the AFC side to clinch a playoff spot. So now, to our next game, to the slate of Sunday games. First one, Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears playing in Chicago. Yeah, I got the Eagles in this one. Bears are playing for draft position. I got the Eagles 21-16. Give me Philadelphia over Chicago by 5. Yeah, that's an easy one. Philadelphia easily. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints playing in New Orleans. Both teams trying to stay alive in that very shitty NFC South division. But someone's got to win in that division. The Saints, they could be eliminated from the playoff contention with a loss and a win from either Tampa Bay or Carolina. I think the Saints will keep their playoff hopes alive for another week. I think the Saints pull this one out on the Falcons. Plus, also with the Falcons, Marcus Mariota is out. Desmond Ridder is in to make his first career start on the road against the division rival that's trying to fight to stay in the playoffs. I got the Saints over the Falcons in this one, 22-21. Going to be close, but I think the Saints win it by 1 point, and I think the Saints will keep their playoff hopes alive this week. All right, to our next game. Detroit Lions, New York Jets playing at MetLife in New York. Of course, both teams, they're both trying to stay alive in the NFC and the AFC wildcard race, respectively. In the end, both teams need this game, but only one can have it. In the end, I think Detroit gets it, because Detroit, they've been very hot as of late. The Jets have been struggling. I think the Lions take advantage. I think Detroit will win this game 22-20. I got the Lions over the Jets by 2 in this one. All right, to our next game. Pittsburgh Steelers, Carolina Panthers playing in Carolina. Carolina trying to stay alive in the AFC playoff picture. Pittsburgh, they're trying to keep their hopes alive as, yes, the Steelers, they can be eliminated from playoff contention this week with a loss plus a New England win as scenario 1. Steelers can also be eliminated with a loss plus wins from the Jets and the Chargers. And also if the Steelers lose this game, then this will become the first time under Mike Tomlin that the Steelers had a losing record under Mike Tomlin. You know, at the start of the year, I said the Steelers this would be the first time under Mike Tomlin that the Steelers would have a losing record. I am sticking with that prediction. I think Carolina will win this game. I think Carolina wins it handily. I actually have the Panthers winning this game 32-14. I think the Panthers will dominate the Steelers in this one. Because Sam Darnold, he's really looking like he's making this most of a second chance so far. Whether he can continue that against the Steelers is yet to be seen. But I think the Panthers will win this one pretty handily. And also with the Panthers winning... Oh, wait. Yeah, Panthers win this one pretty well. And I think they stay in pace with the Buccaneers for the NFC South. All right, to our next game. We got the Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars playing in Jacksonville. Cowboys can clinch a playoff spot with a win or losses from Seattle and either Washington or Detroit. Yeah, Cowboys, they struggled against the Texans last week. Hey, there are some teams you do well against, some teams you don't do well against. I think Dallas bounces back. It's not going to be an easy game against Jacksonville because Jacksonville seems to be doing pretty well. Like, Jacksonville's now second in the AFC South. And there's a good chance the Jaguars could potentially still win the South with the Titans struggling. But yeah, I think the Cowboys will win this game. I got the Cowboys winning 24-21. I got Dallas by 3 in this one. And I think the Cowboys will clinch a playoff spot this week and lock themselves in. All right, to our next game. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans playing in Houston. Kansas City, they can clinch the AFC West with a win or Los Angeles Chargers loss. There's also scenarios where they can make the playoffs, clinch a playoff spot, but those scenarios involve a tie. So if the Chiefs win, they're automatically in, and they clinch the division. Yeah, there's no way in fuck the Chiefs are tying the Texans. Not a chance in hell. But yeah, I do think the Chiefs will get it done on the road in Houston. Yeah, they struggled against the Broncos because the Broncos offense decided now was the time to show up. But yeah, I do think Kansas City will handle their business against the Texans. I got Kansas City winning 29-22. Give me the Chiefs by 7 in this one. And I do think the Chiefs will clinch the AFC West and lock themselves into the playoffs. All right, to our next game. We got the Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos playing in Denver From the sounds of it, it sounds like Kyler Murray is out for the year after tearing his ACL, MCL, one of those two. Like, he tore something in his knee, that's for sure. So he's done for the year. That means Colt McCoy's probably starting for the Cardinals for the rest of the season. Also for Arizona, they can also be eliminated from the playoffs this week with a loss or wins from Seattle and whoever wins the New York Giants-Washington game Sunday night. Hint, spoiler alert for the later on in the picks. But yeah, I think the Broncos handle this one, you know. It kind of makes sense for Denver just to win a meaningless game now that their season's over and they've been eliminated. It kind of seems like a Denver Broncos thing to do since now they seem competent on offense now that their season's done and it's not unsalvageable. But yeah, I think the Broncos will win this one. I got them winning 30-14. I think the Broncos handle the Cardinals handily. Like, Cardinals are fucked without Kyler Murray. But yeah, with Denver winning, I do think the Arizona Cardinals will be eliminated from playoff contention this week. So I think the Cardinals will be sent to elimination station. Alright, to our next game. We got the New England Patriots, Las Vegas Raiders playing in Las Vegas. Of course, Josh McDaniels versus his old boss, Bill Belichick. Patriots trying to keep pace in the race in the AFC wildcard race. Las Vegas, they could be eliminated from playoff contention with a loss, plus a win from either Miami or the Jets. Yeah, the Patriots have had the Raiders' number for God knows how goddamn long. And I could think the Patriots continuing up, and I think Belichick will get one over Josh McDaniels since McDaniels has been so fucking trash. I think the Patriots win this one 26-23. I got the Pats by 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if McDaniels beats Belichick. Since Belichick's had a history of recent memory of losing to his former disciples, you know, Matt Patricia, Brian Flores, etc. Never lost to Joe Judge, though. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders pull it out just off that history, but I do think the Patriots win this one by 3. But since I had the Dolphins and the Jets both losing this week, I think the Raiders will still keep their playoff hopes alive. So I think the Raiders will still stay alive for another week in the playoff race. And also, real quick, before I continue on, because I almost forgot this point. Also, with New England winning, and since I had the Browns and the Steelers losing this week, this means that I also have the Steelers and the Browns both being eliminated, and one fell swoop and being sent to elimination station. Alright, now to our next game. We got the Tennessee Titans, Los Angeles Chargers playing in Los Angeles. Chargers coming off a big win on Sunday Night Football against the Dolphins to stay in the race in the AFC wildcard race. Titans are still trying to keep their lead over the Jaguars in the AFC South. I think the Chargers get this one. You know, Titans offense just hasn't looked that hot. You know, and the Titans are coming off that big loss to the Jaguars last Sunday. I think the Chargers get this one. I think the Chargers got some momentum, and I think they keep it going. I got the Chargers beating the Titans in this one, 25-21. I got the Chargers by 4 over Tennessee. And I should also mention that also with me having Tennessee and the Jets losing this week, I do also, since I haven't mentioned it yet, I do think the Indianapolis Colts will keep their playoff hopes alive for at least another week. Yes, I still feel like that shit show in Indianapolis is still going to stay alive for another week in the playoff race. But yeah, give me the Chargers by 4 in this one. Next game, the big marquee matchup. Odds and also the advertised game of the week. Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing in Tampa Bay. Also, the first ever meeting for the first time ever. Joe Burrow versus Tom Brady. So this is going to really be a really good matchup. I feel like Brady and Burrow are going to play well in this game. In the end, though, I'm going to take the Bengals in a close one. I could see it also being a defensive low-scoring game. But in the end, I think Cincinnati takes it over Tampa Bay. I got Cincinnati because Cincinnati's still trying to keep pace with the Ravens for the AFC North. The Buccaneers are still trying to stay ahead of the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons in that weak-ass NFC South. I got Cincinnati 21-19 in this one. Give me the Bengals over the Bucs by 2 in this one. And now, to our Sunday night game. We got the New York Giants, Washington Commanders playing in Washington. Of course, the last time these two teams met 2 weeks ago, the game ended in a tie. And it also kind of fucked up the NFC playoff, wildcard playoff picture. But yeah, this time there must be a winner, especially on Sunday night. I mean, I swear to fucking God, if they tie again. But yeah, this one, I do think there will be a winner this time, and I think it's going to be Washington over New York. I just feel like the Giants are collapsing and imploding. I'm going to take Washington over New York in this one. I just really like what Ron Rivera's doing, and I think Taylor Heineke is the right QB at the right position for the Commanders. I'm going to take Washington over New York in this one, 20-18. Give me Washington by 2 in this one, as Washington tries to stay pace ahead of the Giants in the NFC wildcard race. And now, to our final game of the week. We have the Monday night game. Los Angeles Rams, Green Bay Packers playing in Lambeau on Monday night. The Rams can be eliminated from playoff contention with a loss or wins from Seattle and whoever wins the New York Giants-Washington game on Sunday night. Well, I don't see scenario 2 happening, but scenario 1's different story. Like, for this game, if Stafford was playing in this game, I would have picked the Rams over the Packers, because fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck the Packers, but, you know, the Rams, they're just a lost ship right now. Baker Mayfield, that was a great win from him, you know, last week, you know, coming in on relief without only knowing the playbook for, like, what, 2 days? Like, honestly, the Rams should have lost that game to the Raiders, but the Raiders threw it away off their own stupidity. But, yeah, I'm not buying the Rams trying to salvage something here. I think this is where the Rams' run comes to an end. I think Green Bay wins this one 26-23. Give me the Packers by 3 in this one. And yes, I do think the Rams will be eliminated this week from playoff contention. But yeah, so yeah, those are my picks for this week. So in terms of teams I think clinch this week, I do think the 5 teams that can clinch a playoff spot this week, I think all 5 will lock themselves in. So I think Minnesota, Dallas, San Francisco, Kansas City, and Buffalo will all clinch playoff spots this week. And in terms of teams being eliminated, I think the Cardinals, the Rams, the Steelers, and the Browns will all be eliminated this week. But I feel like the Saints, the Colts, and the Raiders will keep their playoff hopes alive. But yeah, who will lock themselves in the playoffs this week, and who will be sent to Elimination Station and to the Death Note? Tune in this weekend to find out. But yeah, anyway, that's all I gotta say. I'm out.